All right, here's something wild that most people still haven't figured out. The AI models that required massive data centers and million-dollar budgets just a year ago. There are now open source versions that run right on your laptop, sometimes with comparable or even better results. No internet needed, no subscriptions, no giving your data to big tech. And yet, most people are still handing over their private thoughts and business ideas to cloud services every single day, completely unaware that there's another way. Stick around, because what I'm about to show you is going to completely change how you think about using AI. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you used ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini? Probably today, right? Maybe even in the last hour. Now, what if I told you that there are AI models out there that could run on your computer instead, keeping everything you type 100% private, working offline, and costing you nothing after the initial download? Most people have no idea this is even possible. They think AI means cloud servers. They think it means subscriptions. They think it means sending all your data to some company's server farm and just hoping they don't do anything shady with it. But here's the truth. Open source AI is advancing so fast that the gap between what you can run locally on your own machine and what the big companies are charging you for is closing rapidly. And in some cases, that gap seems to have already closed. By the way, if you want to stay ahead of all this, learn how to actually make money with AI and get the latest updates as we move toward 2026, I've got a free AI community you can join. Links in the description. It's packed with people learning, building, and winning with AI every single day. All right, let's dive in. Section 1, the shift no one's talking about. So here's what's happening right now in the AI world that most people are completely missing. For the last 2 years, the story has been simple. If you want powerful AI, you need to pay OpenAI, or Google, or Anthropic. You need to subscribe. You need to send your prompts to their servers. You need to trust them with everything you type. And honestly, that made sense for a while, because those models were huge. They were expensive to run. They needed data centers with thousands of GPUs running 24/7 just to keep up with demand. But something's been changing. Open source developers have been building models that are smaller, faster, and shockingly capable. Not just good for free, but actually competitive in many use cases with some of the best proprietary models out there. And now, you can download these models, run them on your laptop, and often get results that feel comparable to what you were paying $20 a month for. No internet, no subscription, no data leaving your machine. And this isn't some niche hacker thing anymore. This is real, usable, high-quality AI that regular people can explore right now. Section 2. What even are open weight models? Okay, so before we go further, let me explain what I mean when I say open source or open weight models, because this is important. When a company like OpenAI releases a model, they keep the actual model locked up. You can only access it through their API or their website. You're basically renting access to their AI. But when a company releases an open weight model, they're giving you the actual model itself. All the files, all the parameters, everything. You download it, you run it, you control it, and that changes everything. Because now you're not dependent on their servers. You're not paying per token. You're not subject to their content policies or their rate limits or their data collection. You just have the model on your computer. It's like the difference between renting a house and owning one. Sure, renting might be easier at first, but once you own it, you're free. And the interesting part is that some of these open weight models are genuinely competitive with many of the proprietary models on the market, at least for common tasks. Section 3. Enter Mistral AI and the small model revolution. Now, one company that's been leading this charge is called Mistral AI. They're a French company, which is kind of rare in the AI space because, let's be honest, Europe isn't exactly known for producing cutting-edge tech companies. The regulations over there make it really hard to build anything fast. But Mistral is different. They've been releasing open weight models consistently, and they've been getting a lot of attention for their quality. We're talking about models that you can run on your laptop or even your phone that can do coding, writing, reasoning, and all sorts of tasks that used to require cloud-based models. And they're not just releasing 1 or 2 models and calling it a day. They're constantly pushing out new versions, new sizes, new capabilities. For example, they recently released a series of models called the Mistral models. These come in 3 sizes: 3 billion parameters, 8 billion parameters, and 14 billion parameters. Now, if you're not familiar with how AI models work, parameters are basically like the neurons in a brain. The more parameters, the more thinking power the model tends to have. But here's the thing, even the smallest one, the 3 billion parameter model, can handle tasks that would have been difficult or impossible for local models just a year ago. We're talking about coding, summarizing documents, generating content, answering complex questions. All of that running on your laptop or your phone. And the 8 billion and 14 billion versions, they're even more capable. People who've tested them have reported that they're surprisingly effective for their size. Section 4. Why this matters: Edge AI and Sovereign AI. All right, so you might be thinking, okay, cool, I can run AI on my laptop, but why does this actually matter? Great question. Let me introduce you to 2 terms that are becoming super important in the AI world: Edge AI and Sovereign AI. Edge AI just means running AI models on your own device instead of in the cloud, your laptop, your phone, your tablet. That's the edge of the network, as opposed to some massive data center somewhere. And Sovereign AI? That's about ownership and control. It means you own your intelligence. You control your data. No one else has access to it unless you choose to share it. Think about it like this. When you use ChatGPT or Claude, everything you type goes to their servers. They can analyze it, they can potentially train future models on it, they can hand it over to governments or advertisers if compelled or if it aligns with their policies. You have very little control. But when you run a model locally, everything stays on your machine. Your thoughts, your ideas, your private conversations, your business strategies, all of it stays with you. That's sovereignty. And in a world where data is being collected, analyzed, and monetized at an unprecedented scale, that's becoming more and more important to a lot of people. Section 5. The cloud providers are watching. Now, here's where things get interesting. The big cloud providers, AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, they've invested billions of dollars into building data centers to support AI models. And they're starting to see that there may be a shift happening. Because if people can just download models and run them on their own devices, why would they pay for cloud computing? So what are they doing? They're trying to shape the conversation around what sovereign AI actually means. They're saying things like, oh, sovereign AI just means your data is encrypted and stored securely in our cloud. You still own it. But to a lot of people in the open source community, that's not true sovereignty. That's just outsourcing with extra steps. Real sovereignty, in this view, means you don't need them at all. The model is on your machine. The data never leaves. End of story. And as these open source models continue to improve, it may become harder and harder for cloud providers to justify their prices, at least for individual users. Because at the end of the day, if you can get a similar result on your laptop for free, it raises the question, why would you pay someone else to do it for you? Section 6. A quick history lesson. From personal computers to the cloud and back again. Let me give you a little context here. When personal computers first became a thing, everything ran locally. Your computer was your computer. The software was on your machine. Your files were on your machine. Everything was private by default. Then the internet came along and we started moving things to the cloud. Email, documents, photos, everything. It was convenient. It was fast. You could access your stuff from anywhere, but we gave up privacy in exchange for convenience. And now, with AI, we're starting to see a potential shift back. People are realizing that maybe it's not such a great idea to send all their data to massive corporations who can do whatever they want with it. And with these new open source models, we don't have to anymore. At least not for everything. We can potentially have the convenience of powerful AI and the privacy of running it locally. It could be the best of both worlds. Section 7. The models that can run on your laptop right now. So let's get specific for a second. What models can you actually explore right now, today, on your own computer? Well, in addition to the Mistral models I mentioned earlier, Mistral AI also released something called the Codistral models. These are specifically designed for coding tasks. They can write code, debug code, explain code, and help you build software. And the smaller versions of these models can run on a decent laptop. Not a supercomputer, not a gaming rig with $5,000 worth of GPUs, just a regular, modern laptop with decent specs. And the results? People have reported that they're genuinely impressive for local models. There are benchmarks in the coding world that measure how well AI models can solve real-world software engineering problems. And some of these smaller open-source models are reportedly scoring competitively, sometimes even outperforming models that required data centers just a year ago, at least on certain tasks. Let that sink in. A model you can run on your laptop is performing comparably to models that used to require millions of dollars of infrastructure. Section 8. The competitive landscape. Open source versus proprietary. Now, let's talk about the competition. OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, they're all releasing new models constantly. And some of them are still ahead in certain areas, especially on cutting-edge reasoning or multimodal tasks. But the gap appears to be shrinking quickly. And here's the thing, open source tends to move fast. When one developer figures out a new technique, everyone can use it. When one model improves, dozens of other models can learn from it. It's collaborative, it's community-driven, and it seems to be accelerating at a pace that even the big companies are taking notice of. There's speculation that OpenAI rushed to release their latest model earlier than planned because they're feeling competitive pressure from open source alternatives. Because if people realize they can get most of the performance for free, it raises the question, why would they pay for the full package? Section 9. What this means for you. All right, so what does all this mean for you? First, it means you have options. You don't have to use ChatGPT. You don't have to use Claude. You don't have to pay $20 a month or worry about rate limits or data privacy. At least not if you're willing to explore alternatives. You can look into open source models, consider running them on your own machine, and have more control. Second, it means you can start building things, or at least thinking about building things. If you're a developer, you can potentially integrate these models into your apps without worrying as much about API costs. If you're a business owner, you might be able to use AI to automate tasks without sending sensitive data to third parties. If you're just someone who wants to experiment with AI, you can do it without spending money on subscriptions. And third, it means the future of AI might look a lot different than people think. This may not be a world where a few big companies control everything. It could be a world where anyone can download, run, and build on top of powerful AI models. And that's exciting. Section 10. The bigger picture. Why sovereignty matters. Let me zoom out for a second and talk about why this all matters on a deeper level. Because this isn't just about running AI on your laptop, it's about freedom. When you give a company control over your tools, you're also giving them some control over your ability to think, create, and communicate. And that's a thought worth considering. Think about Bitcoin for a second. The whole idea behind Bitcoin was to create money that no government or corporation could easily control. Money that was truly yours. And that required people to take responsibility. You had to manage your own keys. You had to secure your own wallet. You couldn't just hand it over to someone else and hope they'd take care of it. Sovereign AI, as some people see it, is similar. If you want true privacy, you may need to take responsibility. You may need to consider running your own models. You may need to manage your own data. And yeah, that's a little more work than just using ChatGPT. But for some people, the freedom is worth it. Section 11, how to start thinking about this. So how do you actually start exploring this world? Well, the good news is it's becoming more accessible than you might think. There are tools and platforms emerging that make it easier to download and explore open source models. Though I won't walk through specific setups here since things change quickly. You don't necessarily need to be a developer. You don't necessarily need to know how to code. There are user-friendly options out there if you're curious. And there are tons of resources online to help you get started when you're ready. If you want to learn more and stay on top of where this is all heading, come join the free AI community I mentioned earlier. We track developments, share insights, and help each other figure this stuff out together. Links in the description. Section 12, the future, where this is all heading. All right, so where is all this going? In my opinion, we're moving toward a future where every device may have AI built in. Your laptop, your phone, your smartwatch, maybe even your car, all of them potentially running their own models, all of them working offline, all of them completely private. And the cloud, it'll still exist, but it may not be the default anymore. It could become an option, something you use when you need extra power or when you want to collaborate with others. But for many everyday tasks, you might not need it, and that's a potentially huge shift. Because right now, the big tech companies are betting heavily on the idea that you need them, that you can't do this stuff yourself. But that assumption is being challenged. You might be able to, and more people are starting to realize it. Section 13, the investment question. Will the data centers pay off? Now, here's a question that keeps coming up. All these companies, Google, Microsoft, Meta, they're spending billions of dollars building data centers to support AI. But if people start running more models locally, what happens to all that investment? Honestly, it's hard to say. It's possible that they'll pivot. Maybe they'll focus on enterprise customers who need massive scale. Maybe they'll shift more toward training new models instead of just running inference. Or maybe, in a few years, we'll look back and realize some of that spending didn't pay off the way they hoped, because the economics are shifting. If the cost of running AI drops dramatically for the end user, it raises tough questions about massive infrastructure spending. I'm not saying the data centers are going away tomorrow, but I do think we might see some recalibration in the next few years. Section 14, why open source often wins in the long run. Here's the thing about open source. It tends to win over time, not immediately, not overnight, but eventually. Because when you have a community of thousands of developers all working together, all improving the same models, all sharing their knowledge, you create something that's very hard for any single company to compete with long term. Look at Linux, look at Bitcoin. Look at how much of the internet is built on open source foundations. All of them were built on open source principles, and all of them succeeded in large part because they gave people freedom. AI may follow a similar path. The companies that embrace open source, that release their models for the community, that empower people to build on top of their work, they may be the ones who build lasting influence. And the companies that try to lock everything down, that try to control the entire ecosystem, they may find it harder to keep up as the community grows. It's just a pattern we've seen before. Section 15, what you should consider next. All right, so if you've made it this far, here's what I'd encourage you to do. First, take a minute to really think about this. Think about how much of your data you're giving away every single day. Think about what you're paying for AI services that might have free local alternatives. And then ask yourself, is that the setup you want going forward? Second, consider exploring. Look into one of these open source models when you have time. See what's out there. You might be surprised at how capable they are. And third, stay informed, because this space is moving quickly. New models are coming out regularly. New tools are making them easier to use. New techniques are making them better. And if you're not paying attention, you might miss the shift. So consider joining the free AI community if this interests you. Links in the description. We're tracking all of this, sharing resources, and helping each other stay ahead. Payoff and final thought. Look, here's the bottom line. The AI models that required data centers and huge budgets a year ago, there are now open source alternatives you can run on your laptop, often with comparable or better results for many tasks. And that's not just a cool tech fact. It's a potential shift in how AI works and who controls it. For the first time, you have a real choice. You can keep using the cloud services, handing over your data, paying the subscription fees, or you can consider taking more control. Explore the open models. Think about running them yourself. Keep more things private. The tools are emerging. The models are improving. The community is growing. All you have to do is pay attention and decide what makes sense for you. So if this video opened your eyes to what's possible, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment letting me know what you think. Are you interested in exploring local AI, or are you sticking with the cloud? I'm curious. And hey, if you want to dive deeper, learn more about the business side of AI, and stay ahead of the curve as we move toward 2026, join the free AI community. Links in the description. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one. Stay curious, stay thoughtful, and I'll see you soon.